Hello and welcome to Radnor 411. My name is Jim Doling and I will be your host. In each episode of Radnor 411, you will get updates from every department to help keep you informed on all that is happening in your township. Up first is Bill White, the Director of the Finance Department.
All right, thanks Jim. And with me here today is Amy Lacey, the Township's Revenue Coordinator. Hi Amy.
Hello.
How long have you been with the Township now?
I've been with the Township 11 years.
All right, terrific. Thank you. Well, thanks for coming on with me this month. I'm sure people like a little variety and just don't like me talking to the camera all day, so I appreciate the information that you're about to give us. We're here to talk about the real estate tax bills. Given the time of year, the Township has sent those out, so we wanted to make sure we get some information out there with regard to what those are, you know, and just some general overviews about how the process works. So let's start off by asking or talking about who pays real estate taxes in Radnor Township.
All properties within Radnor Township are subject to a real estate tax, billed by 3 separate authorities. The first is Radnor Township, and we mail our bills February 1st. The second is Delaware County, and they mailed their bills also on February 1st. And the third is the Radnor Township School District, and they mail their bills July 1st.
Okay, that's an important distinction because I'm relatively new to the area, and learning that was pretty important. And it was surprising to me, and we put this information together when we were doing the 2011 budget, that when you take the total property tax bill and you break it into those 3 different pieces of the pie, that the township's portion's roughly, let me refer to my notes to make sure I get it right here. Township's roughly 12%. Where the school district is roughly 70%, and then the county makes up that difference. So the township's the smallest piece of the pie. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk a little bit more about the services that pays for later in this segment. But I also wanted to just mention briefly that there was a lot of discussion during the budget process about the fact that the township had to increase the millage rate to be able to continue to afford the same level of services. And there was a lot of discussion about the percentage being 9%, which mathematically is correct. The township's millage rate went up by 9%, which equated to 0.3 mills. But when you take a look at how that impacts the total tax bill, when you add all 3 of the pieces of the pie together, that equated to a 1% total tax increase. So while the township's portion did go up 9%, the overall impact to the residential property taxes was only 1%. So, you know, at these shows and that type of information that was included in the budget discussions, it's just good to make sure people have a good grasp of all the different entities and how much they're paying for each one. So let's talk a little bit about the millage rates. What is the township's millage rate? And
The millage rate for Radnor Township's tax bills is 3.6411.
There it is. All right, yeah. And if I wanted to calculate my taxes, how would I use that number?
What I do is take your property's assessment, which is set by Delaware County, and multiply it by the millage rate divided by 1,000. So if your property's assessment was $100,000, you would take $100,000 and multiply it by 0.0036411, and that comes up with your tax bill.
Okay, and the whole dividing it by 1,000 piece is why they call it a mill. The mill is representative of the 1,000th of 1%. So that's pretty straightforward.
Right.
That's one good thing about the real estate laws here in Pennsylvania versus where I'm from. It's a little bit more complicated in Ohio. Let's talk a little bit about when the tax bills are due. We know they went out late January. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about when they're due.
Okay.
The different time periods you have to pay them.
To receive a 2% discount, the township must receive payment by March 31st. To pay in the face period, you have to pay by May 31st. Anything after May 31st is subject to a 10% penalty that is added on, and the final due date for tax bills is December 31st.
Okay, so the 2% discount, is that something the township decides on, or is that a state law?
That's a state law.
A state law, okay. That's good to know too. So, How can residents pay their property tax bills?
Well, payments can be made several ways. A resident can tear off the top portion of the bill and place it along with a check in the envelope that we provide when we mail it. That goes right to our lockbox. The second way is they can go to TD Bank on Lancaster Avenue in Wayne and make payment in person, again with their coupon. The third way is they can always come into the township building during normal business hours. We always accept walk-in payments.
Okay, and the finance department is on the second floor, so when you go into the township building, if you just stop by the receptionist and ask, she'll be able to direct you, or head up to the second floor and look for the signs that tell you where the finance department's at. So maybe it might be a good idea to show exactly what a tax bill looks like. Hopefully most people can at least recognize when it comes in the mail. Right. But for purposes of trying to get some information out there, we'll show you what an example bill looks like. And Amy, if you could just walk through what the folks are looking at.
Sure. In the top left corner, the property assessment is listed. And again, this is set by Delaware County. In the top right corner is the folio number or parcel ID. This number is unique to each property. Breaking down the folio number, the first two numerals are 36, and this is for every property in Radnor Township, and this identifies the municipality, which is Radnor. The next two numerals represent the ward that the property is located in. Radnor is divided into 7 wards, each with its own elected commissioner. And as the example that's shown on the screen, this property happens to be in the 7th ward. The middle section right underneath that folio number shows the taxes that are due within the specified time periods that we talked about earlier. The first amount is the discounted amount due by March 31st. The one right below is the face amount that's due by May 31st, and the amount below that is the penalty amount due by December 31st. Below that box is the actual property address that the tax bill is for, the legal size, and the legal description. In the middle of the bill, you have a wealth of information, and it's anything from contact information for the treasurer's office, the phone number, our fax number, different payment options that we did discuss earlier, and just various notes about the tax bills.
Good. So that's an example of what the tax bill looks like. Hopefully that helps. We had talked earlier about how to calculate your tax liability. We talked about the millage and how that works. The other component of this is assessments. How does a home get an assessed value, or what is that?
Well, Delaware County sets a value on a property, and it's what we refer to as the assessment. Assessments can change. There's 3 different ways that they can change. And the first way, the most common way, is through an improvement on the property. For example, a single-family dwelling, a new house, a pool, an addition, a garage. A permit must be applied for those improvements through the Community Development Department. They will approve it. Triggered from that, a Delaware County official from the Board of Assessors office will go out to the property and visit it, and they set a new assessment value based on the improvement. Okay,
so that a homeowner looking to put a significant improvement on, say, a garage, like you mentioned, they would come to the township to get the permits necessary to do it.
There's a permit process.
So the township's involved from the permitting process, but not from whatever happens with the change in assessed value. That all is done down at the county level.
That's correct.
Okay. What are some of the other ways that the assessment may change?
Well, the assessment can change it can be reduced through an appeal process that is typically triggered by the homeowner. This again has to take place down at Delaware County since they are the ones setting the assessment in the first place.
And that information is on Delaware County's website. If you're interested in understanding what that process is, they have that stuff on their website, or you could call the county.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for coming on. I think hopefully this information has been helpful for those who are watching about the real estate tax bills. Again, I'm Bill White, and that's Amy Lacey. We work in the finance department. If you have any questions about the township's portion of the tax bill, please feel free to give us a call. Understand, as Amy mentioned earlier, the county sends out a separate bill. And the school district sends out their own separate bill, but not until the summer months. So if you have any questions about those, please refer to those agencies. But if you have questions on the township bill, please feel free to give us a call. We're here to to assist you and make sure you have all the information you need to make those payments and understand your due dates and what your responsibilities are as a homeowner. Finally, since we're talking about real estate tax bills and the larger picture here is that this is the 45% of the township's general fund revenue comes from the billing of real estate and the millage and the assessments that we talked about. So roughly half of what the township has in terms of revenues to provide service comes from this billing. The other half comes up from a mixture, mostly from business taxes that Radnor Township has and has had for a number of years, or quite a long time actually. And then another piece still from departments charging for some of the services they provide, trying to offset the cost of providing very specific services that don't fall under the general tax umbrella. So about 45% of the township's general fund comes from that. And the types of things that the property tax goes to fund are the basic services that you see here in township. They're things that you feel, you touch, you come in contact with every day. It's your roads. It's not just the roads themselves, but the clearing of snow. It's the fixing of the potholes, repairing them, the drainage systems that go along with having roads. It's our parks system. It's maintaining the parks, mowing, seeding. It's doing all the things associated with the parks, as well as police and safety. The township has a full-time police department here. We also help fund the Radnor Fire Company and other fire companies in providing safety service. So this is the money that the township is utilizing to return or provide services back to the residents to improve the quality of life here. So that's what the revenue is used for from a larger perspective. So Amy, once again, thank you very much for coming on. I do want to stress, if this is the first time you've watched her, the one thing that the Radnor Township does very well is we've got excellent people here who work every day to help make sure that your questions are answered, and they're here to provide service for the stakeholders of the community, and Amy's definitely one of those people. So we thank you for what you do, and we'll see you here again next month. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bill Martin. I'm the Assistant Township Manager. I'm going to give you an update on the Administration Department this month. For the beginning of the year, we had our township-wide reorganization meeting in January, where the Administration Department recommended for Labor Counsel Reed Smith. They were appointed at the first meeting in January, and we also worked with recommending that John Rice, our current solicitor, be reappointed. He's with the firm Grimby and Thatcher, and they both will be for one-year terms. Also, as I mentioned last episode about the local services tax, our fourth quarter LST filing was due January 31st. That now completes our 2010 collections for the local services tax. The first quarter of the LST for 2011 will be due on April 30th. Along with those lines, we also have all our business licenses should have been in by January 15th for business privilege taxpayers. And also, we've processed approximately 35 right-to-knows in the month of January. And I would expect that number to be pretty similar as we move forward throughout the year, based on having a little over 400 right-to-knows processed last year. One of the other important things that we do at this point is working with our business commercial and multifamily recycling program. This is run by Peggy Hagan, the administrative assistant to the township manager. She coordinates that and puts all the work together. She recently mailed out a pamphlet to all those participating members, trying to streamline and make it a little more easier to get the information in. So you should have that in your possession at this point. Make sure you get that back to Peggy as soon as possible. If you have any questions, you can contact her directly, 610-688-5600 extension 124, or via the email radnorcycles.com. That information is vital to how we put together our recycling statistics for the DEP recycling program. And next month, Peggy will be here to tell you a little more about that and how well we've been doing the last couple of years. Thanks.
Good afternoon. I'm Bill Miller, one of the two code officials with Radnor Township, and we're here today to talk a little bit about the Code Appeals Board. The Code Appeals Board is made up of contractors, architects, plumbers, electricians, etc. that live in Radnor Township. They hear appeals from a decision of the code officials in Radnor Township regarding the township code, such as the electrical code, building code, plumbing code, sprinkler codes, etc. Their determination is to try to give a variance regarding the township code officials' decisions regarding certain items in the code. On March the 1st, we had a code appeal regarding a basement egress issue at one of the properties here in Radnor Township. The appeal was heard. Certain testimony was given by both myself and the contractor regarding this. Based on the testimony, the appeals board makes decisions. If you wish to review this, it will be available at the township website. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Bill Gallagher, Ordinance Enforcement Officer for Radnor Township. I work under the supervision of the Police Traffic Safety Unit. One of my responsibilities at the township is animal control. Every year, the Radnor Police Department responds to hundreds of calls throughout the township involving both wild and domestic animals. Today, we're mostly going to discuss domestic animals, dogs in particular, and some of the ordinances that pertain to them. Did you know that all dogs in Delaware County are required to be registered? License applications can be acquired by simply going to the Delaware County website or following the link on the Radnor Township website. Applications are also available inside the records room at the Township building. As part of the licensing process, Delaware County also features a program entitled Return a Lost Dog, which is a free 24/7 service that will assist people who find a lost dog immediately. The service, which is provided through the Delaware County Treasurer's Office, provides people with the phone contact information for a dog's owner. People who find a lost dog at any time, day or night or weekends, can enter the number, the current license registration, and access a phone number to reach the dog's owner. Only the dog's name and phone contact are given. No individual names or addresses are available through Delaware County's Return a Lost Dog service. Only current registration numbers for dog licenses are available through the Return a Lost Dog service, so it is important for all dogs to have a current license. In lieu of the Lost Dog service, it is paramount to have some form of identification on all dogs, whether it is a collar with tags or a microchip. This will streamline the transition with finding a lost dog and returning it to its owner. Ordinance 115-2 under the Municipal Code of Radnor Township, required vaccination of dogs and cats. Within 10 days, after any dog or cat in the Township of Radnor becomes 3 months of age, the owner of such dog or cat shall have such dog or cat vaccinated against rabies by or under the supervision of a veterinarian. Within 30 days after the arrival of any dog or cat over the age of 3 months, shall have such dog or cat vaccinated against rabies unless such dog or cat has a vaccination whose duration of immunity has not expired. This is extremely important, especially in the case of animal bites. Ordinance 115-4, reports of persons bitten or injured, confinement procedure. It shall be the duty of any person who has knowledge that a dog, cat, or other animal has bitten or injured any person in the Township of Radnor to immediately report the facts and the whereabouts of such dog, cat, or other animal to the Community Development Department, Animal Warden, or Police Department. And it shall be the duty of the owner of any dog, cat, or other animal to immediately confine and isolate it in such a manner as it will prevent it from escaping or running at large. Upon receipt of such information, the Community Development Department, Animal Warden, or Police Department shall advise the owner as to the procedure to be followed with respect to further confinement and examination of the dog, cat, or other animal. Without question, the most calls we respond to involve barking dogs and dogs at large. Ordinance 115-7, dogs at large. It is unlawful for the owner of any dog or dogs, licensed or unlicensed, to permit such dog or dogs to run at large unaccompanied by the owner. The owner shall include every person having a right of proprietorship or ownership in a dog, and every person who harbors a dog or has it in his care, and every person who permits a dog to remain on or about any premises occupied by him. A dog shall be deemed at large if off the premises of the owner and not on a leash. Secondly, noise. We receive numerous complaints regarding barking dogs at all times, day or night. Chapter 115-15, noise. It is unlawful for the owner of any dog to permit said dog to cause annoyance to the citizens, residents, or other persons lawfully in the township by barking, yelping, howling, or causing any other unseemly noise. 115-17 are the violations and penalties. Any person who shall violate any provision of this chapter shall be guilty of an offense, and upon conviction thereof shall pay a fine to the Township of Radnor of not more than $1,000 plus costs of prosecution, and in default of payment of such fine and cost, be imprisoned in the county jail for a term not exceeding 30 days. It is important to note there is no ordinance pertaining to cats at large at this time. Hopefully some of this information has helped you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call. I can be reached at 610-688-0503 or wgallagher@radnor.org by email. Thanks, and hope to talk to you soon.
This is John Osborne, the treasurer in Radnor Township. I'm here today to tell you a little bit about the office. I've been your treasurer since August of 2004, and I'm in my second term right now, which will end in December 31st of 2013. First, I'd like to thank some people here. The new management here at Radnor, I think, is doing a bang-up job. Been presented with a very difficult task, a $90 million bond indebtedness, and they're doing their best to cut down expenses. The people here are working very hard because they've had layoffs here, and the snow we've been experiencing here, this is a Monday, it's the first warm day we've had in February. We're having some melting out there right now, but our Public Works crew has been busy all month removing snow with fewer people to get the job done, a dozen fewer people, and certainly doing a fine job. I also would like to thank Amy Lacey from the Finance Department, who does much of the work for the treasurer. Now, the duties of the treasurer are set forth in our Home Rule Charter. The Home Rule Charter was adopted in August of 76, but I believe it went into effect in August of 77 with the new government we have in Radnor. We're a Home Rule Charter township. It's kind of rare. There aren't a whole lot. Most townships in the state of Pennsylvania are governed by statute law. Our fundamental document is this Home Rule Charter. And backing up the Home Rule Charter is the Administrative Code. Much of what's in the Administrative Code has been adopted by resolution, or if it's a law, it's by ordinance. So we're one of a small group of townships that govern ourselves this way. This is the document. It tells the responsibilities of the manager, the treasurer, the commissioners, and the employees. I am the treasurer of this township, and it's an elected office. It's elected for a 4-year term, and the duties are I receive all revenue coming to the township. That would be monies paid for permits. Certainly, I also carry out the function of the tax collector. The tax is not set by the treasurer. The tax is set by your commissioners. There are 7 commissioners in Radnor Township, and each ward has a commissioner, and that they are the people who are given the responsibility to set the millage rate, which develops into your final tax. The millage rate this year is 3.64, which means $3.64 for every $1,000 of assessed value to your property. I also disperse the funds of the township. Every 2 weeks I look over the checks that are approved by the Board of Commissioners and are to be sent out. Also have the duty of surcharging. We'd surcharge somebody who maybe incorrectly received some money from the township, like they went on a trip or something and they took too much of per diem for the night. I would just ask them to give the money back. We have a major surcharge going here in the township right now for over $1 million based on the former manager of the township, and that matter is currently in litigation. Very, very rarely has a treasurer brought a surcharge of the nature that we currently have going. Is also, as the tax collector, this office provides certification to the title companies that are handling closings. They have to investigate the property to make sure that the taxes are paid. So they contact this office to learn whether the person has paid their taxes. And we give them a certification that, yes, they have paid, here's what they paid. Now, there are 2 duties in this office. There's the duty of the treasurer and the duty of the tax collector. The tax collector duties are set forth in state law and basically require 12 days of attendance a year, and that would be at the end of the 2 weeks to the end of the discount period. The treasurer has to be in his office for 3 days in those 2 weeks, so that would be 6 days. And then at the end of the face period in May 31st, again he has to be in the office for 3 days for the 2 weeks preceding that period. Be a total of 12 days. I have attended meetings of the treasurers and tax collectors in the state of Pennsylvania, and I'm in about the 20% of men. It's mostly a women operation today, though always we have not had a woman in Radnor Township. To my knowledge, it's always been a male here. We have had in the past overpayments of taxes. Some people are not aware that when they're making their monthly mortgage payment, that portion of it is going into an escrow account to pay their taxes. So we will get 2 payments. The homeowner will make a payment to us, and the mortgage company will make a payment to us. We do our very best to return those payments as soon as possible, and we primarily return the payments to the taxpayer and not to the mortgage company. I think that's a more reasonable way of approaching it. I think that pretty much covers what goes on here. I travel to the bank most every day to get our deposits, make our deposits, get our receipts and everything for the tax bills that you mail in. We have you mailing the tax bills to Philadelphia. Actually, it's the new main post office at the Philadelphia airport. The main post office is a brand new facility that is highly automated. All mail from Delaware County and the city of Philadelphia go down to the airport. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call me. I can be reached here at Radnor Township. My phone number is 610-688-5600, extension 138. I also get faxes at 610-971-0450, and I'm happy to discuss anything with you. please don't hesitate to call me if you have any questions. And I think that pretty much covers the duties of this office.
Hi, I'm Leah McVeigh in the Parks and Recreation Department. The snow is finally melting and it's time to start thinking about your spring outdoor recreation activities. Here at the Park and Rec Department, we are offering sign-ups currently going on for programs for ages 3 to adult. For our preschoolers, we have programs for play ball, 5-star sports adventures, impact sports programs, UK Elite and World Cup Junior Soccer programs, along with several tennis programs. For our youth, we are offering a new spring theater program, an all-star impact sports program, and of course, golf and tennis lessons. Teens and adults can tune up their golf and tennis with lessons this spring. Another big hit is our Babysitters Training course. For anyone interested, the Fenimore Woods Picnic Pavilion is available for rent from the Parks and Recreation Department. Please contact our office at 610-688-5600, extension 136, to make your reservation. We reserve the Fenimore Picnic Shelter for picnics, family reunions, birthday parties, and so on, as well as our other picnic areas throughout Radnor Township. Please give us a call or check out all of our information on the website at www.radnor.com. Click under Parks and Recreation, Programs and Excursions, and you will be set for your spring activities, your picnic shelter, and don't forget we're also running a trip to New York City on May 7th for anyone who wants to go the day before Mother's Day. It's certainly a treat for your mom. Have a nice day.
Hello everyone, I'm Steve Giancristoforo from the Information Technology Department here at Radnor Township. Here today to show you the different types of power systems that we have here in the Township building to ensure that we have reliable service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even in the event of a power failure. Now let's take a look at the different components we have in our system.
Modern computer systems today require clean, reliable power. That's power that's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without interruption. To provide that power, we actually run our critical systems on batteries. This is why we have a building-wide uninterruptible power source, or what's called a UPS unit. The UPS unit is nothing more than a large cabinet containing heavy-duty batteries, and those batteries supply the power to all our computer equipment and the emergency lights to the building. So most of the time, or 24 hours a day when we're actually running on batteries. What keeps those batteries charged is the power from the utility company. Now, if that power is interrupted for any reason, this is why we have to have what are called transfer switches, and we also have to have the generator. The generator will then take over the job of keeping our batteries charged so that our critical systems continue to run. This is a heavy-duty transfer switch. What this switch does is if it senses the utility power go out for any more than 3 seconds, it will take the leg of the utility power and transfer it over to a generator. At that time, our 200 kilowatt generator will fire up and will run for the entire length of the event. Okay, this is our building generator. As you can see, it actually sits inside of a room inside the building. Okay, it's totally self-contained. It's a 200 kilowatt unit powered by a Detroit diesel engine. It's fully self-supporting within the building. Has exhaust system which vents through a muffler up through the center of the building, out through the roof. It also had louvers that opens up, that in the event that this generator fires up, we need fresh air circulating in the room. So these louvers will open up and supply fresh air into the generator. It'll run for approximately 4 days on 1 tank of fuel. We have lines here running to the outside of the building, and we have a fuel tank which is filled on a regular basis to make sure we have enough diesel fuel in the event of an emergency. So we are basically self-supporting here for approximately 4 days without getting additional fuel. This generator also powers our auxiliary building, which sits at the top of the hill underneath the radio tower, which houses our critical radio equipment, and also supplies power to the emergency lighting in the building. So again, we're pretty much self-sufficient here for about 4 days. Okay, this is one of the heavy-duty transfer switches. We have a total of 3 of them for the building. Okay, and these transfer switches will engage in the event of a power failure from our electric utility. It will switch the power feed from utility power to generator power. We have a total of 3 of these switches, and also if there's a malfunction of the switch, we can flip it manually to restore power from the generator to the building. To test the system, each week the system fires up on Mondays. The generator runs for about 30 minutes just to ensure that it's there, ready to go when we need it. Our power is switched to auxiliary power, and that auxiliary power will remain on for about 30 minutes. At the end of the 30 minutes, the system recycles and brings us back to normal power. This way that we know that in the event of emergency, even during the day or at night, our system is ready to go.
Well, there you have it. Please stay tuned to our TV for all that your township has to offer, from public meetings to announcements on the scroll, and of course, the next episode of Radnor 411. Thank you for watching, and remember, our TV is your information station.